Hey, we're going to get started. First, I feel like I should say something to the people joining us from other places. This is the first time I've done a service like this, but I can appreciate how hard it is to travel to do something like this. And usually I don't like technology very much, but in a moment like this, I'm thankful for it because you're with us. You're here. Bertha, I got a chance to email with you and talk to you on the phone. And I can hear that you're hurting and that you're missing Pat, and I'm sorry, and I hope that this is a special time where we can remember her. And then Brian, your life story, I learned a little bit about it, hearing about Pat's life, and it's really outstanding. It's really an exceptional story, and so I'm sorry if I get some of the pronunciations or the facts wrong, but we're here to honor your sister, and I'm honored to be a part of it. Now I'll just start by telling you who I am and just a little bit about what I thought we'd do. My name's Julia. I am a member and used to be a staff member for several years at the Methodist Church here in Durango. And I said, yes, I'd like to help with this service about this special woman, but I didn't know anything about this special woman at the time. And then I spoke to Bertha, and then I read a little bit about her life story. And I can sincerely say I wish I'd met her. I can sincerely say she sounds like such a special person, and so I hope that today we can celebrate, we can laugh, we can cry. My faith is really important to me, and I know that Pat has a Catholic background, so we're definitely going to worship as well. But that's just a little bit about what to expect today, but there are tissues and waters right there. And let's just go ahead and start with opening up with a time of prayer. God, we come to you today and we feel the breeze in the air and we're in the shade and it's a beautiful day. And we just pause and we give you sincere thanks for Pat and for her life here. She was a friend, a neighbor, a daughter, a mother, a grandmother, a sister-in-law that was like a sister. And so many more things, Lord. She was all those things and more. She was a gift. She was yours first, but then she was ours, and we got to have her here on earth for 91 years. So we just pause and we give you thanks for her life here. Please bless us as we worship today and as we remember her life. In Jesus' name, amen. So, Bertha wrote out just 2 pages of a little bit about Patricia's life. And I'll call her Pat, but I know her full name, at which she was born, was Patricia Mary Kelly. But she wrote it out in just a 2-page document that's really special, and so I thought I'd read this, and then we'll just do, we'll talk a bit more, but I just wanted to read this first because it's Pat's story. Patricia Mary Kelly was born in England on November 10, 1933. She has one brother, Brian. Her mother was a homemaker, and Michael, her father, was in the military. She had a fairly normal childhood, playing with neighborhood children, up until September of 1940, when Germany started the Blitz over England. All of their lives changed dramatically from that point on. Pat still played with the boys in the neighborhood, climbing fences and stealing fruit from the available ripe fruit trees, teasing them by putting their school bags up on high posts where they couldn't reach them. All were aware that when they heard the sounds of the German planes overhead, yes, and they learned to know the different sounds of the enemy planes versus the German planes versus the English military planes. But they knew that when the German planes, that when they heard those, it meant run into the nearest bomb shelter and stay there until the all clear sounded. Sometimes the bombs were so close, were very close, with dust coming down over everything. Once the all clear sounded, everyone would go back out to see what the damages were. Pat tells a story that after one of the attacks, she was headed out the door when her mother asked where was she going. And Pat replied, out to see the bomb craters. And her mother, which I'm not sure if I say Elsie or Elsia, her mother whacked her across the head, stating that someone could be dead in that crater. Pat said she had not realized that possibility. They were used to seeing the buildings with no fronts and doors hanging loose and curtains flying and stairways leading to nowhere. Food was rationed, and it became a challenge to get what was necessary to maintain a reasonable and healthy diet. And during the Blitz, Pat Brian and her mother went to stay with her Aunt Polly, who lived out in the country. Aunt Polly was an herbalist for the community, and anyone who had any kind of injury or illness or ailment would come to her to get a remedy. And Pat's mother also knew a lot about the various herbs and used to make Pat drink some kind of a horrible concoction to keep her healthy. And it must have helped because Pat never took any medicine, possibly a baby aspirin if she was feeling really bad. Then she would go to bed and tell herself she would be better in the morning, and she swears it worked for her. I believe her. After all, she lived to be 91 and in reasonably good health. So one of the many stories that she told about her childhood concerned her one and only store-bought dress, which she loved. And she was out scrumping, it says, apples from a neighbor's tree when the hem of her new dress caught on a nail and ripped the whole hem off. She retrieved the torn hem, placing it around her neck, and continued to climb the wall and get the apples. But when she got home, she gave the hem and the torn dress to her mother to mend. And her mother said nothing but just took the dress, and later after it was mended, she gave it back to Pat and made her wear it with the raw torn hem on the outside of the dress. And it says she was humiliated. And neighbors were always coming to their door saying, "Mrs. Kelly, your daughter," because she was quite the tomboy. Her mother, unfortunately, was killed in an accident when Pat was 16. And from that point on, she took care of the household as well as working full-time at various jobs. Pat met Merle, or Ole, when she was 20 while he was stationed in England. Her dad approved of Ole up and until she stated that she was moving to the U.S. to marry him. And Mr. Kelly liked Ole, just didn't want his daughter moving to a foreign country. I can appreciate that. That sounds hard. But Merle was transferred back to the United States in January, and it took until about April for Pat to get through all the red tape and to leave for Durango. It took a lot of courage and a very strong love for her to leave her family and country and move to an unknown new life. Pat had that strong will and determination and faith, knowing that it would all work out well. She sailed on the Mauretania from England to New York. Her uncle met her at the pier and she stayed with them for a few days in Long Island. And then she went shopping on Fifth Avenue and bought her wedding dress at one of the shops. And she took the Zephyr from New York to Denver, and then the Greyhound bus to Durango. And Ole met her at the bus station and brought her home to meet his family. Then they were married at St. Columba's Church here in Durango on July 9 of 1955. They had one son, Larry, and Pat took Larry to England with her when he was a teenager, staying several weeks to meet the Kelly family and see where Pat was raised. Larry totally enjoyed the trip since he was a history major in school. Merle passed away in 1996, and Pat sold the house in Durango and moved to Greeley to be near her grandchildren. She lived in Greeley until 2002 when she moved back to Durango. Larry died in 2017, leaving his two children, Michael and Megan, who still live in Greeley, or the Greeley area. Pat loved the mountains, and they spent any time Merle had off work out in the mountains camping and fishing. And as hard as this person, Bertha, tried to get Pat to move to Louisiana to be near them, she would not budge from these mountains, she said. Pat was very active in the Elks Emblem Club for 24 to 25 years, becoming even the president at one point and going to various state conventions with the club. She was a great seamstress, just like her mother was, a great cook and a homemaker. She taught herself how to decorate cakes and sold them in the local community. And Bertha finishes by saying, Pat will be dearly missed, and so many of her lovely stories will last forever. It was a true joy to know and to love Pat. So I thought I'd, read about this person, and I was waiting to get the email, and I read it, and I said, wow, that was so much more than I expected to read. And I think everybody's story is important, so it doesn't mean we all have to have adventures like Miss Pat did, but oh my goodness, the things she saw and the things that she overcame. When I read it, one of the first words that came to my mind was resilient. The things that she unfortunately had to experience as a child that she overcame. I immediately thought of the word strong. She sounds like she was a really strong person. To determined, might even say headstrong at times, that she was determined not to leave the mountains. She sounded very positive. I loved the story about how she would go to bed at night and say, I'm gonna feel better in the morning. To me, that's such a positive view. I love that she was devoted to her family, that she loved to cook for them, to be a seamstress, to be a homemaker, that she learned how to decorate cakes. But her story, just to me, is a story of such adventure and such love, and it definitely sounds like it had some heartache, some true heartache. And I think that's where my faith comes in, because I do believe with all my heart that now Pat's in a place where there's no hurt, and there's no pain, and there's no worry, and there's no sadness. I know it's hard for me to imagine all of this here on earth, but I truly cling to that. I truly do. I like to think about some of the favorite things people do, and that they're maybe doing some of those things in heaven as well. So not only that they're free of pain and free of any worry or sorrow, but maybe that they're in a mountainous, beautiful mountainous place, baking cakes for people that they love, or sewing something for someone that they love. That's sort of like what I like to picture. But I do want to share a couple of Bible verses that really speak to times of loss. This one is about where we find our hope. It says, it's from Psalm 121. I lift up my eyes to the mountains. Where does my help come from? My help comes from the Lord, the maker of heaven and earth. He will not let your foot slip. He who watches over you will not slumber. Indeed, he who watches over Israel will neither slumber nor sleep. The Lord watches over you. The Lord is your shade at your right hand. The sun will not harm you by day, nor the moon by night. The Lord will keep you from all harm. He will watch over your life. The Lord will watch over your coming and going, both now and forevermore. And of course, I think this might bring peace to some of you, or a little bit of help to some of you, just because it might be in your hearts or sort of written into your brain, your memories. It's Psalm 23. We hear it often in difficult times. The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside quiet waters. He refreshes my soul. He guides me along the right paths for his name's sake. Even though I walk through the darkest valley, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil. My cup overflows. Surely your goodness and love will follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. I don't know, some of us have church backgrounds and some of us don't. So the pastor at my church always says, if some of this is helpful to you, cling on to it. If it's not, you can leave it behind. But it was also occurring to me when I was reading those Bible verses that unfortunately Pat lost some of her favorite people while she was here. And I know that's part of growing old. But I was very saddened to hear that her son died before she did. And so I like to think that now she's with Larry, and that she's with Merle or Oli, and so many other people that she loves so much. So I want to share just a couple more things with you, and then if you feel like you need to share something or would like to share something, please feel free. Or if you want to just tell me something you want to make sure I say so that they can hear it in England and Louisiana and wherever you're joining us from. But I do want to share with you some a lyric from one of my favorite songs about heaven. And it says that this person pretends that he's falling asleep, or he writes in the song that he's falling asleep, and he kind of goes into this hazy in-between sleep, and he feels like he got deep enough to where he was almost in heaven, and he said, he was deep enough to dream in brilliant colors I've never seen, deep enough to join a million people for a wedding feast, deep enough to reach out and touch the face of the one who made me, to know the love I feel and know the peace. And I just think that's so beautiful. And it says one other part, it says, peace is running over my soul. I see the lambs and the lions playing. I join in and I drink the music. Holiness is the air I'm breathing. My faithful heroes break the bread and answer all of my questions, not to mention what the streets are made of, my heart's held hostage by this love. And these brilliant colors I've never seen. So I want to remember Pat. I know these are just a few facts about Pat, but she sounds like an amazing woman. And when I walked up and I saw Michael, and I said, hey, do you think you want to say a little something? He said, I can't. And I thought, well, that's all I need to know that she's poured so much love into the people around her. He's got so much love and I can feel it. And that's a life well lived when there's people here who have felt your love and are better for you being in this world. So one of the last thing I'd like to do before we do one more closing prayer is I would like to just maybe take 1 minute. It might feel like a long time because we're not in silence for long typically, but maybe it'll just be 30 seconds. But I just want to give everyone just a few moments to be quiet and to, if they have anything they want to say to Pat, to do that. God, I thank you again for this wonderful life that we got to have here on this earth for 91 years. I ask that you please be with those that are grieving, whose hearts are heavy, because while we know that now she is with you and totally whole and totally, I believe, experiencing beautiful colors we've never seen before and experiencing love that we can't even imagine, that doesn't mean that we don't hurt here on earth, Lord. So I ask that you comfort us in our time of grieving. I ask that you please bring us peace. I ask that you be with this family and help them to talk to one another and to share memories with one another so that they can continue to laugh and cry and talk about Pat and the mark that she made on each of their lives. And I just ask that if we learned anything from her story, if we learned kindness or adventure or being strong or resilient, that we thank you for that, and that maybe we go and try to do something good in the world based on what we've learned. But God, I know that she was yours first, and so we give her back to you now, Lord. Thank you for receiving her into your arms. Thank you that we know she is with you now. Wrap us in your love and in your peace in the days to come, Lord. And I'll finish with the words that Jesus taught his disciples, saying, Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever. Amen. Now we're going to watch as Michael goes and lays her in her resting place beside Merle. Go in peace, and thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
Thank you. I felt like I should say it. I'm so sorry. Tears are good. Tears are right. You know? Sometimes we try to hold them in and think they're right. I'm so sorry for everybody's loss. She sounds like a wonderful lady. Oh, yes.
And we were friends our whole life. You're making a difference.
Yeah, that's amazing. Are you related to these two?
Unfortunately, yeah, those are my parents.
I thought so. It's so cute. I thought it was.
Thank you.
I'm so sorry for your
Well,
loss. When you get to a certain
Heaven
age, you have to
has
say goodbye to
a challenge ahead of its now.